Shawn again for joining me today. For those of us at home, can you give us a little bit more of an introduction of your background and your interest in multifamily?
Absolutely. So my wife and I got started investing in multifamily as passive investors back in 2013. And, we were looking at it as a way to, help improve our cash flow a little bit and really just kind of diversify our holdings. And it started off kind of slow. And, it really just increased our interest in real estate the more we invested. And as you know, recently we took the plunge into becoming syndicators, which is why, we love Cash Flow Portal because it really helped us do that. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more in a bit. But I mean, we were really looking for ways to secure our retirement so that we could retire without having to change our lifestyle.
I took a look at your profile and you had several roles professionally. I know you worked as a consultant, a business analyst, you were even a veteran, and now you are in multifamily full-time. So I guess, what was the transition like?
Wow. So I've always been a little bit of a jack of all trades. I am a problem solver. My most recent consulting job was with Southwest Airlines, and my boss gave me one of the highest compliments I've ever had. He said, "I like having you around because you're like a SEAL team. I can drop in on a problem and it just goes away." And I'm going, cool. I've never been compared to a SEAL team before. Not to really compare me to the guys in the teams because they're a whole nother level above and beyond everybody. But I really appreciated the comparison. But transitioning from a corporate world into multifamily has been both interesting, entertaining, and eye-opening. My wife and I are taking this journey together. And she's continuing to work her W-2 job, which allows me to go full time, which has been great. The transition was and still is challenging because we're still in the process of developing all of the cash flow that replaces all of our income and everything to where we want it to be.
Got it. Wow. And I guess you previously mentioned that you started off investing passively and now you made the leap to syndicate on your first deal. Right. So you took a further step there. How was that transition into syndicating a full deal?
Honestly, it's been great. It's also a little scary if I'm being totally transparent. There's a whole lot of things that have to happen that as passive investors, we really didn't appreciate all of the workings that go on behind the scene. If you will, liken the analogy to how we are getting a firsthand view of how the sausage is made, and it's been at times it's been a little overwhelming, but with the support of a great team and it's been overall very good.
Have you been able to apply a lot of your professional skill set into multifamily syndications, like problem solving?
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things, excuse me. One of the biggest things that I used to do at work, people would come to me with questions and problems, and very rarely would I have the answer immediately, but I always knew who to send them to. So I've been a connector. I've always been kind of a people person. So I'm always the one that's out there reaching out, making connections, going, "Oh yeah, hey Christina, you've got this problem. You need to go talk to so-and-so down the hall, or you need to set up a meeting with these three people, or whatever the solution is, it's like you have to know who to bring together to solve the problem.
And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and that's, really most businesses come down to, you have a basic business plan and you execute that. And then the rest of it's just solving the day-to-day problems that come up.
How were you able to, I presume that you syndicated a deal with other GPs. So how were you able to find the skill set that you wanted to, merge together and join efforts?
No, that's great. The way we've, the way we ended up with the first property that we syndicated, which was Northridge. Excuse me. Oh man, it's like my allergies have been killing me this week. The way we ended up with Northridge Court is, we found the deal, and my wife remembered a conversation that she had with one of our partners, Krista Lee, and remembered that Krista Lee liked secondary and tertiary markets. And she goes, why don't you run it by her to see what she thinks? And we did. And long story short, she called us back the next day and said, yeah, we like the deal. We want to go in with you. And do you mind if I bring my regular partner, Larry Troy? And I go, no, I like Larry. Larry's a great guy. And so, long story short, we ended up being able to put the team together. Larry's an asset manager, so he's teaching me the ropes. I'm actually the asset manager for Northridge Court, but he's looking over my shoulder, and until he feels happy that I can take my training wheels off.
And I guess, asset management is a lot of, keeping track of moving parts and making sure that everything is going the way it's supposed to, it's according to plan. And then you have to make a lot of updates to spreadsheets. So I am very aware. I joined a lot of the asset management calls, and there's always issues. But again, as long as you have a strong team to resolve it, then you're good to go. But, you definitely want to limit the issues there.
Yep, absolutely.
I wanted to move on to some of the cash flow portal testimonial questions. So the first one is, did you have any initial hesitation using cash flow portal?
Probably the only hesitation I had was that it was still, kind of fairly the new kid on the block. But it wasn't much of a hesitation for me. Because as a business analyst, one of the things I do is I go out and review different options for, different solutions, and, whatever the problem is. And I went through kind of methodically and pulled up a lot of the different systems that were out there. And, the ones that allowed me to play with them, I played with them. The ones that didn't, I tried to research and look at reviews and just get a feel for, what was being offered. And, in the big scheme of things, I felt that, cash flow portal was kind of the spunky new kid on the block. And, I was willing to give them a chance.
Did you receive any benefits, any results from using the portal?
Oh, absolutely. Our investors thought the process was so much nicer and cleaner than, having to do it the old fashioned way, which is, print out and number the PPMs and send them off, and, wait for things to come through the mail. I mean, that's like way old school, right? And I know there's still some syndicators that do that, probably not very many anymore, but that to us, the biggest benefit was the speed that we were able to process the documents and get everything signed and get our investors onboarded.
The speed is always very important. I guess, what were the biggest challenge of using other competitor platforms?
I think a lot of it is just, getting your documents set up. Because I heard that as a common complaint amongst my contemporaries that use a variety of different platforms. I'm a tech guy, so it wasn't that big a deal for me. But the thing I really loved about Cashflow Portal, I mean, the customer service is just over the top.
Mhm.
And, Perry made sure that we got everything set up and working. And anytime there was any kind of a question or an issue, he or one of the other team members was on top of it, like almost instantly.
I hear this a lot from a lot of the syndicators that use the platform. The customer service is always top notch, and the response time is always very, very quick. And that's not always the case with many new platforms. I know a lot of SaaS software companies outsource their customer support. So you have to wait 24 to 40 hours for response. And if you're raising money, you want to make sure you get things done quickly. So it's always appreciated when there's a quick response time.
Yeah, when you're trying to get that last document in that you need so you can send the wiring instructions to get that last chunk of money to do a closing, you don't want to wait 48 hours.
Definitely not if you have one deal pending on one, document that you need to execute and have it processed, right?
Right.
I guess my next question would be in terms of onboarding process. So, when you made the decision to go ahead with Cashflow Portal, what was the onboarding like? Was it quick? Did you have everything you needed? Was it user friendly?
Well, for me personally, I thought it was great. I mean, I had already set up my account and played with it for a while. And then once we had a property under contract, the onboarding went very smoothly. Again, like I say, Perry and the rest of the team were very supportive, with anytime there was an issue. And we really didn't have that many issues.
Were they more like support questions like, hey, how do I upload or how do I send this form out? Were there more questions like that?
Most all of that was pretty straightforward. Every once in a while it would be more of, okay, somebody set up a profile and they did it the wrong way. Can you delete it and let them start it over? Because I think when we were first getting started, some of the user functionality was still being developed. And I know that even though we have a lot of good functionality that we're using now, there's still a lot more that Perry has in the pipeline for the whole project, which is really one of the reasons I liked Cashflow Portal, is the forward-looking, that Perry, that vision that Perry has for the product and where he thinks it can go, which to me is very exciting.
Are there any particular features on the roadmap or any features currently that you're super a fan of?
Oh, both. I've got one, when he added the ability for us to be able to do addendums. I've used that, I'd say easily half a dozen times, which saved our investors, at least 6 of our investors having to go back and delete their documents and start all over. This way they were able to just make a 1 or 2 page change. It was just very, very helpful to be able to come in and go, hey, I've got this 1 page addendum, and you send it off and they sign it and we're done. You don't have to go back through the, filling out everything again, which is great.
Yeah, that's always a very tedious process, right?
Eliminate
tedious and manual stuff.
And then one of the things that's really exciting to me that's on the roadmap, and I know it's further out, but that's the being able to handle the tokenized transactions for real estate. And I know, some people are really interested in that. There's already companies out there that are doing it, but I don't think there's any syndication portals that support it yet. So I'm really excited about the future of that.
Lots of features rolling out, right? Perry has a very large vision for Cashflow Portal.
Yep.
And would you encourage others to use Cashflow Portal among the syndication community? What is your, biggest selling point of using Cashflow Portal?
So first, absolutely, yes, I would encourage people to use Cash Flow Portal, because, the more people that use it, the more investors they bring into the ecosystem, and the more valuable it becomes for all of us. As far as the biggest selling point,
it's a loaded question. So
it is a loaded question. There are, there's so many. Honestly, I think if I had to pick just one thing, it's the customer service.
Wow. Customer service. Okay. That's great. That's great
I
to
mean,
hear.
to me, customer service is a huge deal. I've been on systems where, you send out an email and maybe you get a response in a day or two.
Mm.
You know, our cell phones have and computers have kind of trained us that we want that almost instant response.
Right.
And, when we don't get it, we kind of get irritated. We're going, well, I can go to Google and get an answer, in seconds. But, why can't I get an answer from your company in, at least an hour,
Right.
But I
I
mean,
think
with you guys, it's been great.
I think when you're evaluating software tools as well, customer service can be one of the biggest indicators of choosing one rather than the other. Just to know that you are supported and you have, a team that's going to be able to assist you whenever you need them. So having the reliability. Right. Yeah. And then my last question will be anything you want to share with our audience today. It could be about Cash Flow Portal, or it can be about syndication space.
Yeah, I mean, I love the syndication space in general. Being able to pool a group of investors' money to help us all reach a shared goal, I think is, something that's amazing. And I love the way that, Cash Flow Portal helps us be able to, support that shared goal of, making money and, helping, provide great housing for people.